Hello and welcome to our episode of Show Me Yours. I'm here with Jason, my co-host. Hey, Jason.
Hey, everyone.
I'm Rihanna, your other co-host. And here we have our lovely friends, Leo and Brandy Nunes.
Yes.
Not Nunes or Nunes or nuns. They're definitely not nuns.
Yeah.
Whoa. We weren't gonna, we said
I know
those
we
are
say we're
off-limit questions.
I know we say we're non-traditional, but that's a little unorthodox,
Leave it to me. Leo and Brandy have been floating around Colorado Springs. You guys have been in town for what?
We moved here in 2017.
2017.
So about 8 years.
8 years. Wow. And I think I met you guys shortly after you guys came to town. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
We float around in a lot of the same circles. We have a lot of the same conversations. We work a lot of the same people. And on top of that, you guys manage our benefit program for us.
Yep.
And here's the deal. I'm going to tell you guys a little secret. As an HR professional, I hate health insurance.
Me too.
Hate it. You guys want to hear something? When Brian and I first decided to start the businesses, we did a little experiment. So we calculated up all premiums, co-pays, deductibles, everything we paid in my last year of real employment. We paid $14,000 out of pocket that year. And that was for a healthy young family. We didn't have anything crazy. It was just like our normal doctor's visits. And then we stopped our health insurance when I left my normal job. And we just went to self-pay. We didn't skip a thing. We didn't change a thing. We still went to the doctors, paid out of pocket. Guess how much we paid that year?
Probably like $5,000 maybe.
Less. It was $3,000 that year. Didn't change a thing. And then we met you. So that was a little scary going without health, because in the back of your mind, you're like, what if?
Always.
Right? And then we met you guys, and you introduced us to some of your amazing plans, and you gave us the best of both worlds. Peace of mind and still affordability.
Yep.
But I'm not here to pimp them out right now,
Thank
even
you,
though I could.
Yes. When you decide to leave HR, give us a call.
No, I'll be retired then.
Right.
Sitting on a beach. You can come visit me.
Yes.
But anyway, so Leo and Brandy Nunes.
Yes.
They are, I love how you guys have recently been branding yourselves. The Nunes and employee benefit solutions. Thank you for getting that for me. Because it is new. But it's really exciting. So,
yeah.
We're going to talk about the biggest business mistake. You guys have been running your business very successfully, pretty much since you've been in town.
Yeah.
8 years.
Yeah.
Right?
We hit the ground running for sure.
Yeah. They've grown to be the #1 benefit broker, according to the Gazette, in Best of the Springs here in Colorado Springs. They're Best in Business award recipients multiple times over, because we're usually celebrating those awards together.
Yep.
So they are just renowned throughout the community. So let's start off today's conversation with a question.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Besides the blue hair,
Yeah.
what is the weirdest thing you've done to kickstart your business? And by the way, the blue hair is not for the business.
It's funny because when we talked about this last night, I told him the blue hair, and we both laughed because originally we didn't dye it for that purpose, but it definitely has become part of the brand, so much so that Leo's changed all his social media to that blue haired guy.
Ah, really?
So people know who he is, right? It's super easy to remember. But that was a really hard one. I was trying to think of weird stuff I had done in the past to try to get business. I mean, we started in the beginning just cold calling. I mean, we knocked on doors. And so when you're cold calling, and then you got the guy behind you selling paper products and the guy behind them selling, P&C insurance. And then, again, you get people a revolving door of solicitation all day long.
I just had one meander into my office earlier today.
Yeah, it absolutely happens, but that's how we started. And I was trying to think of okay, what are some weird things? Because, you meet all kinds of weird people in this line of work. But, I've definitely done stuff to try to make myself stand out. I remember there was one Halloween, I full on dressed in my Halloween costume and went door to door knocking, because I was like, people are going to remember some witch walking in the door, dressed for Halloween, trying to sell them healthcare benefits, right? Employee benefits doesn't have to be scary, we've done all kinds of random stuff. But I was trying to think of weird stuff That's a tough one. The blue hair is definitely probably the weirdest.
Yeah, but I mean now it's like it's unmistakable and it's like and it's definitely recognizable. I mean, more people pick us out of a crowd than we can pick them out of a crowd.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of hard to go somewhere and not be noticed. And you know, for sometimes good reasons or for like bad reasons, like, okay, you're weird with blue hair. What's your story? But yeah, I mean, but it has grown into a brand, and you know, it's kind of interesting. Like when we even branded the company, like blue was a core color of one of our actual, like, you know, of our marketing package, and guess now, I guess the blue hair just kind of goes along with that now. So becomes a marketing expense now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally does. Okay, 2 blue questions. So, will you guys ever go back to your natural colors?
Yes, at some point. I mean, you can't have blue hair forever.
Speak for yourself.
But
Now that his social media handles are,
right.
you know,
Well,
set in
and that's the
stone.
thing. Like, I've even started replying to texts like, "Hey, it's Brandy, your blue-haired benefits advisor." You know, and so people are like, "Oh yeah, the blue-haired lady." So, but yeah, at some point in time, you'll have to. I mean, one, it's just a lot of upkeep in general. But I look at pictures of me 3 years ago when my hair was normal, and I'm like, I don't even know who that is anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, how boring is this? You know, and it's like, I always have to tell people it's not a midlife crisis. Like, we dyed it for cancer awareness. You know, it's not just us going through stuff in our 40s, you know,
Right.
which could easily be the case. But it doesn't feel the same anymore, like when I look at pictures of me from before. So that transition is going to be really hard. But
Wow.
I mean, it'll be blue as long as I can.
I mean, at least a good, you know,
Yeah.
10, 15 more years at least.
Well, we'll see.
Until you retire.
Yeah.
And then you don't need it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, all of our branding's been updated. It's all, you know, new headshots and everything else, and everything's blue hair now. So it's going to be really hard to just change it back.
It will be. It will. It's so recognizable. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the upkeep? What's the
Every like 6 to 8 weeks, bleach and color, especially for him because his hair's dark.
Yeah.
Do you guys do it yourselves, or do you?
Oh,
have someone
heck
do-
no.
No.
I was
Oh,
gonna
no.
say.
We had
No.
it professionally done. We'd screw
Go
it
see
up.
Lady
We would screw it up, forget
Godiva
ourselves.
on Pikes Peak and Wasatch.
We'd have clumps of hair falling out. It's like, oh yeah, I got
Yeah.
blue hair, but I got lots of bald spots too.
Yeah. Eric's been my stylist for several years, and I actually met him when I was cold calling originally. I walked in and I asked him about employee benefits, and he's like, "Oh, we're good." And I was like, "I'm going to go back and meet that guy one day." And like a whole year went by, and then I was like, "I'm going to go back to that hair salon and see if I can talk to that guy." And so I had just gotten my hair cut at some terrible place that chopped it all up, and it was it was lopsided. And I walked in and I was like, "Hey, I have a question for you. What do you think about this haircut?" And he was like, "Girl." And he gave it to me like, here's, you know, and anyway, he's like, "I just had somebody cancel. I got time. If you want, I'll clean you up."
Oh my gosh.
And so I
what a
sat in his chair and told him about
godsend.
employee benefits, and now he's a client.
Oh, well done.
I got a great stylist out of it. So yeah, they're good people.
That's fantastic. Okay, Leo, I'm going to have you draw a card. Okay, I know. It's nerve-wracking.
Pick a good one. Is it like Cards Against Humanity, or
Could be.
Should I look at it now?
how's it going to end?
Go for it.
Okay. What alcohol can you never drink again?
Oh, that's a good question.
That is a good question. Well, Leo stopped drinking 2.5 years ago. So
Yeah. So you know, all alcohols I don't drink in.
yeah.
Probably, you know what, though, if it was anything, gosh, I think the last experience with Jaeger was
Yeah,
about
for sure.
Jägermeister.
Yeah.
Jaeger.
Yeah.
That's
I
just
enjoyed it in my
dangerous.
heyday. Like, I drank a lot of Jaeger until the point where you don't want to drink Jaeger ever again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jägermeister.
Yeah.
Hey, Jaeger bombs were all the thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, in like the early 2000s, I'd go to the bar and
Anything in
first thing
the minty category or cinnamon category, Rumpelmints, Goldschlager, or Jägermeister, like any of those. I had enough of that in my 20s. I'm good.
I'd order. Yeah.
You know, there was a point I thought I'd never drink tequila again, but that has changed. So, you know, I think we've all had that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jose Cuervo. Never again, but good tequila.
Oh, yeah.
I'm totally on board.
Not to say that I never got sick on other types of alcohols, you know, but like I got over it. But Jägermeister, just the smell of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Just yeah. The first, even if I'm if I was completely sober as my first drink, it just doesn't sit well
No.
anymore. No.
Yeah. We all have that one alcohol. For me, it's Bacardi Limon. Back in high school, I had that night where I woke up in a hammock and I didn't know where I was, but I knew I'd drinking Bacardi
Yeah.
Limon the night before.
Yeah. I did used to love the
Never
Bacardi flavors.
again. I can't even smell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like you, Leo. I haven't had a drink in a while, but for me, it was mojitos. I don't really know what goes into a mojito.
Yeah.
But oh man, I can't even handle the smell of it, the flavor of it. Yeah, like
That combination.
no.
Well, and it's, you've got fresh lime and mint, so it's refreshing, but it's also acidic at the same time.
It is.
And they're made with rum, so it's super smooth once you mix it together. But yeah, you have enough of those, and it's like anything else that's that citric acid. Like it just does not sit very well in the digestive system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So no, thank you. I'm done with those.
I got you, man.
So I'm curious, in your guys' kind of business owner career, what is a skill that you've picked up that you never thought you would actually need?
Oh man, a skill I picked up? I don't know. Man, that's a good one. Patience.
How so?
Well, I mean, it's really hard as a business owner because everybody's coming to you for everything. Leo and I are sales, service, support. We're everything to all of our clients, employees and employers. And that's a lot of responsibility to take on. And so patience has been one of the biggest things. I mean, I'm not the most patient person in the world. I'm very much type A, let's do it, let's make it happen, get it done. And I've really had to learn how to manage that and take a step back, even working like with your own spouse. In that relationship and that work dynamic too, like he processes things differently than I do, and it's going to take him longer to get things done than I do, and that's okay. So I would say patience, honestly, even though, I mean, everyone has it to a certain extent, but I definitely am a lot more aware of how I have to implement it, every day, to continue being successful. The last thing you want to do is make somebody mad or seem ingenuine or insensitive, and patience goes a long way.
It does.
What about you, Leo?
Especially when you're with your wife. Patience is essential.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just gratitude. I mean, it's, being a small business owner, it's not always, rainbows every day, right? And flowers. I mean, you're going to have good days and bad days. And whether that's because, it's something has turned in the business where, just as well as, whether it's the financials or some other issues in the company, or just even, interactions with clients and things that are not going as, as planned, because we think like being a business owner, everything is planned. It's just going to work out so perfectly because I planned it out today. And of course, nothing ever goes out as planned. We're, lots of times we're just reacting to whatever hits us from or whatever direction. And so, being, just having a lot of gratitude was like something that like, I don't think I really had before. I just took things for granted. Working in the W-2 world, you showed up, you punched in, you punched out, you got a paycheck, right? You took things for granted, right? Hey, as long as I could check mark the boxes and I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, that check was my bank account every 2 weeks. When you become a small business owner and you're working for yourself, you are the one that's now like, you got to make sure that bank account has money coming into it. And so being grateful when you're going through tough times, because that's where you're going to learn the most experiences and you're going to grow. And then being grateful when they're not necessarily the best of times, but being grateful because things could be a lot worse. So just having that constant gratification of like, hey, you know what? It's not going to be perfect every day, but you're here, you'll get through it. And, and
Everything's a learning opportunity.
And, bring on the next opportunity.
Yeah.
So.
I know health insurance itself is a skill. I mean, like I hated that conversation as an employee, and learning the whole industry has been a lot. It's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of things to manage. And so, I mean, for somebody to go into an industry where you don't like doing it, or even having the conversation and having that whole different dynamic, it's been pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It's definitely changed the way we operate our business.
What's the most interesting thing you've learned about the health insurance industry?
Oh, that's a rabbit hole.
Sheesh. You really want to open?
Well, I mean,
box,
it's kind of going back to what you were talking about earlier on the cash pay, the whole cash pay thing, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are two prices in the healthcare system as a patient. You have your amount that they're going to bill to insurance, and then you have the amount that you would pay if it was cash. Now, the unfortunate part about cash is it doesn't really give you a limit on what you owe if you're cash pay, right? Like you could be slapped with a pretty hefty bill, whereas major medical at least gives you a cap on what you would owe. And I honestly would say that's the only reason to have it, is so it gives you a limit. That's why you guys have what you have, which is the best of both worlds. But it's really unfortunate that people have this kind of like misconception that they have to have health care or their health insurance, right? What they need is affordable access to health care. And that's totally different at two different costs.
Yep. Absolutely.
And it's, I think a lot of people are becoming more aware because there's this underground movement of change within the healthcare industry with providers and companies and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's it's very frustrating that people are so blinded by what they think they know when it comes to the healthcare space.
Interesting.
And the way it really works on the back end.
I couldn't. I don't even want to see how it works in the back end. I think I would just.
We were having a whole conversation here on the way
Grouchy.
over here about the big insurance companies. I'll let you explain.
Well,
much.
I mean, the healthcare, the healthcare industry in the United States is a $5 trillion a year industry. It is one of the largest industries that exists in this country, and it is one of the most unregulated. To where you have large players in the healthcare industry that are controlling rates, they're controlling prices, and they're controlling care because everything goes through them. So, you have these large, massive, major medical insurance companies that have ingrained people the sense that the only way to have access to be able to pay for healthcare, to pay for medical services, is that you have to use an insurance company. And these insurance companies make billions of dollars in profits every year, and we're not seeing that coming back to the person who's covered. And so that for us is very frustrating because the system is not working for the people; it's working for these large corporations. And so that's why we say we're like the anti-insurance people when it comes to healthcare, because we need a free market, just like we have for every other industry in the healthcare system, to create competition, bring down prices, and provide actually higher levels of care. Because now it becomes a competitive thing where if you want the most patients, or you want to do the most procedures, then you need to be the best at what you do and take the best care of your patients. Well, right now everything's part of a network, and so you're the one in network, so you're the one I have to see, whether they're the best or the worst.
Anyway, we have a lot of big conversations
About the healthcare industry
about the system.
and how it needs to change.
I bet Thanksgiving's very interesting at your house.
It is. It is. It's fun when we get around people that are in the healthcare space and they get it too. And we get to have conversations about the things that they've experienced and they've seen on their end as like even a medical doctor, so it is pretty interesting.
So as you moved to a brand new community and kickstarted a brand new career, that must have been a lot.
Yeah.
As you guys got started down that path, like, what was your very first moment?
I think was it when I came home one day.
Which one?
When I came home, I was like,
That
guess
one day.
what?
Oh, no.
No, so it's pretty much when I made the decision to actually go into insurance. Like, guess what? I'm going to go into insurance. I'm going to go work for this carrier. And Brandy's like, great, And thing is, we were coming from W-2. I mean, my entire life I've been a W-2 employee, right, in some form or fashion. So constant paycheck. You get, hey, here's your agreed upon pay. And so she comes over and is like, really? So you're going to be in insurance? So how much does it pay? And it's like, nothing. It's 100% commission. She's like,
what?
Oh my God, we're doomed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm getting paid nothing at all.
Yeah. That was a big day. That was a very big day because he had declined another job because he didn't think it paid enough. And then he came home to tell me he took a job, 100% commission. It's like, wait, what? You did what?
Were you in sales prior to that? Had you done?
Not really.
Okay.
Not technically open, we're, very open sales. I mean, I worked in sales in different trades and things like that, but the sales were a lot more kind of like, they're just going to happen anyways, but not actually literally cold calling and trying to build an entire book of business from scratch. No, never kind of in that sales kind of aspect. Yeah.
Wow.
So just jumped in head first into a 3-foot pond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we really did because Leo got he took the position. 3 months later, I quit my job because I was running the entire office and not getting paid near enough, like every job I've ever had. I've always been the person that goes above and beyond. If I don't have a skill, I'm going to learn it. If you need something to happen, I will make it happen. I've always been that kind of employee, and I got laid off twice, and I got really tired of working for other people and fitting in their budget. Yeah. So when we moved here, I took the first job I could get. 3 months later, I joined him, and we have not looked back at all.
So what was that deciding factor for you to jump off the cliff and join Leo in making no money?
We actually, so I feel like, of course, it's, I don't want to say bait and switch, but it almost is, right? So we went to the national convention for that company, which is the very beginning of the year. It's their big kickoff event. They go through all the sales from the previous year, and they talk about numbers and how much people sold. And anyway, these people are coming across the stage to get their awards and stuff. And every time they cross the stage, Leo's like, they earned like, say, I don't know, 35% commission on that much in sales. And so every time they'd walk across the stage, he'd lean over and be like, that person made this year. Yeah. And it was like, wait a minute, like I'm working my butt off for other people and not getting any kind of credit or any real appreciation. And it's gotten me unemployed twice. Yeah. So why don't I just go ahead and do this for ourselves and we can make something of it? And again, with the experience that we had in the healthcare space, coming from the W-2 side and going through a financial hardship whenever we were employees, that was a big eye opener for me. And I was like, we could absolutely do this because we've been there. And like, I can understand this point of this problem that we're trying to solve, So it was great. We hit the ground running. We cold called lots of businesses and we started our business literally going door to door. It was crazy.
Did you have any sales background?
Yeah, I mean, I worked in Leo and I both worked in the service industry for years, right? So we're very used to talking to people that are complete strangers and being friends. Not a problem.
But building an actual book of business.
Yeah, that's totally different. I've worked in marketing and advertising. That's what my background was. Like I did a lot of graphic design and I helped people with their trade shows and conventions. And I've always been in sales and marketing of some extent. But to build an insurance agency from scratch when you don't really know anything about healthcare. Like, I mean, again, we were very uninformed in the beginning. What do you offer? How do you offer it? How do you even build clientele? I mean, it's not like we weren't hired by an insurance company that gave us a leads list and was like, here, go call these people.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, cool. Here, I'm going to drop you off on the corner of El Paso and Fillmore. You better walk every door and go meet these people and see if you can get an appointment, and that's how we started. So you
started learning the art of bullshit.
Yeah. So I mean, we've done sales in some aspect, but being self-employed in the health insurance space is totally different because you have to earn people's trust. You have to, let people know that you're going to be there for them, and keep that. It's not just earning people's business; it's keeping people's business too.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's one of those 80-20 businesses where or industries where pretty much only about 20 people stay in it and 80% of people drop out. And so there's a lot of
high turnover space.
It's a very high turnover space, very similar to real estate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only about 20% of real estate agents
or financial planning,
and that really
we all
succeed,
get
and
lumped
the
in
other
there.
80 tend to drop out. So, so being new people, also being completely new into town and starting a new business, and then going out and trying to meet people new. People didn't know who we were. I mean, we weren't like someone that was native and living here. So, and also, of course, it's and we're in these industries where they're like, oh, you're the 10th person that's come in here this week. We'll see how long you'll be around. So it took a lot of time just for people to build trust, to say like, hey, no, we're serious about doing this. This is what we want to do, and this is why we do it. We're not just doing this just because it's oh great, I'm gonna go into insurance and be
I don't think anybody goes into insurance to be rich, man.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Go to rich or whatever. But no, so for a lot of people, we couldn't build their trust until they knew we were going to stick around for a while because. They're like,
let's see if you're here in 6 months.
See if you're here in 6 months, or if you're now going from insurance to real estate. So.
You know how it is. The networking circle is not always easy here.
No.
Yeah.
It's not. It's kind of a good old boys club.
You got to earn your keep.
You do. You got to.
And did you start off kind of with an alternative approach to insurance, or did you guys develop that over time?
Well, a little bit. Like the reason even why we would attracted going into the insurance business is because we were like most Americans. I mean, most Americans are W-2 employees, and so therefore they get their health benefits through the companies they work for. And so we were in that same position working for a business and insurance, and actually how to use the health insurance, not for like something where like, oh, I'm just going to get a flu shot or some antibiotics. Like actually spent 5 days in the hospital. But you have this, oh, I've got insurance, right? I'm taken care of, I'm protected. And then next thing you know, you start to find out, well, they denied paying for this, and this is not a covered procedure. Oh, by the way, that doctor was out of network, but she was providing services in an in-network hospital. And so that whole thing where they try and like pay as little as possible on that medical claim, even though you've been paying money into them to have that coverage. And so going into the insurance and when interviewing for insurance and learning some things about like, oh, well, if I would have had some of these things in place, started connecting dots. Like, okay, there's these kinds of insurance policies and these kinds of insurance coverages and these kind of insurance. They're all different things. But if you start to put the dots together, you're like, well, okay, if I package this with this and this and this, now I have a fully comprehensive package with a financial safety net. And that was like, And it was an aha moment. It's like, why
Yeah.
don't more people know about this?
Like we started
Why are 2/3 of all bankruptcies in America caused by by medical debt? And 70% of those people actually had major medical insurance plans in place and still have to file bankruptcy because insurance is not covering all the bills anymore.
Yeah.
And so when we learned about how to build these alternative models and click the pieces together and then build a comprehensive healthcare system or package with then also a financial package, support system in there as well too. And it's like so instead of having my story where I was $10,000 in debt after a 5-day hospital stay because insurance didn't want to, that was the part the insurance said you need to pay for. How do we avoid other people from going through that same scenario? And that's what inspired us to even get into this industry is to help just educate people and just tell people, it's like, look, there's ways, like life's going to happen.
Yeah.
You don't know when and you don't know what it's going to look like, but when it does, it's not all about just making sure the bills get paid as far as like the doctors and the hospitals. How do we make sure you financially, still have a household, you maintain your roof over your head and the lights are on? And because we've heard the stories. I mean, we've come across so many people that have those stories where I had to sell my house, and I had to give away my dogs and move into an apartment because there was so much medical debt that was not covered through my major medical insurance plan that I had to sell everything and downsize. And it's like, they're heartbreaking stories sometimes. And it's like, that's not how healthcare in America should work.
No. We started with the financial safety because we can understand what that does.
Yeah.
Like we had that $10,000 out of pocket and we can see where that helps. But as we would talk to business owners, they're like, that's great. But my people really need, this and this and this. And we started asking a lot of questions about, okay, what, because some of these things we'd already heard about, but we didn't know about them necessarily, right? So you got to do your research on what company is it and how does it work and all that. And anyway, so we started doing that research, and COVID happened in 2020, which was kind of great because it gave us a moment to step back and kind of analyze stuff.
Yeah.
So we started with one piece, but transitioned to offering a lot more because we could see the value of how those things bundle together. It was funny because I was in a meeting one day with my hierarchy when we first started in insurance, and he told me, he was like, you ask way too many smart questions. He's like, and that's not going to bode well for you in this industry, right? And so, anyway, it was a blessing. I mean, it got us started for sure. But at the same time, we learned a lot more about what's available out there by asking those questions. Like, you can't just sit on the sidelines and wait for change to happen. And if we're all I don't understand. It's like we're all disgruntled about healthcare, but yet not much is being done about it. And so it's like, if you want to sit on the sidelines, you can, or you can go out there and make a difference. And so we try to figure out, okay, how can we do all these things to solve the problems that people would have: affordability, access, low out-of-pockets, financial safety. And we figured that out.
So I hear 2 mistakes already made in business. First, Leo comes home and says,
I'm going to go
gonna
100% commission.
And then the second one,
It's like,
which I
all right,
find
I trust you.
interesting, is you ask too many smart questions. I mean, especially for the industry you're in. Knowing you as well as I do know you, I suspect that prompted you to not stop asking, or
It's like, let me
stop
just throw
asking
some gas on the
questions.
fire.
But let me ask some more. So looking forward, how has that served you?
Well, it's always how can we bring more value? How do we kind of look at what's happening in the market? Like, what changes are we seeing kind of coming down the pipeline? And we follow a lot of legislation and stuff like that pretty closely on bills that are on the floor and things that can make healthcare more accessible and stuff like that. So we know where, it's like the Gretzky thing, right? It's like you don't look where the puck is going or, moving is where it's going. And so it's that whole thing of how is the market moving? People are tired of overpaying for plans that they spend a lot of money for when they need them. Yeah. And people are looking for a better solution. They just don't know what's there. Like, I truly feel like as a company, what we do, we're on the forefront of the way things are moving in the healthcare space. Yeah. We just have to make sure that we pay attention to the legislation and the regulation that's coming down from the government to see how that is going to affect things. Yeah. Like for us, they started offering family. Yeah. Well, that affected, us offering short-term disability.
Yeah.
Now
absolutely.
we can still offer that, but it has to be placed different, differently. And so it's how do you evolve as things are coming down the pipeline, right? And we work a lot in the free market space, and the government doesn't like that. And so there is legislation that they are looking to change things. But there's also legislation they're looking to do good things. One of the things that's on the floor is them doing the HSA for all. Like right now, you cannot use HSAs for non-traditional plans, and that's something that they're trying to actually get passed. So it's both sides. It's like there's going to be good things happening and bad things happening, and it's like you just got to pay attention to what's happening so you're prepared.
Yin and yang.
Yeah. But you got to ask the questions.
Absolutely, you do. Okay, so looking back all these years, I mean, gosh, fast forward. Feels like yesterday. I remember COVID when you guys went back to the drawing board and you're like, okay, let's redesign all of this and really meet the market's needs, right? There's a lot of like memories and stuff in watching you guys grow your business. But as you look back and you reminisce, like, what's that big shiner? What's that moment where you're like, ooh, I definitely fell. I fell hard. I may have fallen forward, but what's that trip?
Honestly, I mean,
What do you think? I don't know. Oh, geez.
well, I mean, I've definitely, hang on. No, it's not that. It's
Working with your spouse. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Hey,
I'm kidding.
it's
No.
not easy.
No, I
easy.
mean, it's, I have very high expectations on myself of how I serve clients and how I show up for my clients. And so I've lost clients. And it could be because of a misunderstanding or whatever. And that's always hurtful, right? Like as far as, because it's like, well, you've lost trust in me or something like that. And so that's always difficult. Now, in hindsight, those were people that should have never been clients of mine in the first place. And so I think the biggest mistake really like trip up is we've got tons of little shiners, but the biggest thing is saying yes to a lot of stuff I probably should have said no to in the beginning and learning that along the way. Like that's been a big trip up is like in your good heart of hearts, you want to help everyone, but then you shouldn't. Right. And so in the beginning, you're like, I'll say yes to everything and I'll take every client. Yeah. And I've been corrected about that several times. The universe has definitely put me in my place a couple times.
Can you imagine like what was or remember the biggest like promise of a yes that just didn't have the payoff? I think sometimes that's like the temptation, right? When you're first starting is that someone comes along and it could be a client, it could be someone they promise you the world, you'll get access to this, I'll give you this thing or whatever. That was like a really big build up and you said yes to it, but the payoff just never delivered.
I've got lots of those. I mean, I've got insurance license in other states for clients that supposedly had employees that would enroll in plans, and that costs a lot of time and money to get that licensing, and then nothing ever happened. I have clients that they have 150 employees and we're scheduling mandatory education sessions and I'll be lucky if 50 people show up. There's a lot of things that but again, it's like anything. You just roll with the punches, man. Like business in general is never what you expect it to be. You just wake up every day and you're like, all right, well, whatever problem it is, we'll have a solution, but yeah, there's
what
lots
about
of
for you, Leo?
Lots of that.
I mean, yeah. And when kind of going to learning when to say yes and when to say no, in a lot of cases, it's because you do want to help everybody, and not realizing you get to a point that where potentially you are so like you can't say yes because you can't say yes to another person, but you still continue to because you have no more bandwidth left, right? Like you have totally booked yourself up, but you don't want to turn anything away, and it's and it's not sometimes people will say yes to everything because of a scarcity mindset, right? And so they're just desperate for whatever comes their way, so they say yes, yes, yes. Well, like we evolved to where we're not in a scarcity mindset. We have a lot of commitments to existing clients plus new clients that are coming our way. And you're saying yes to all of them. And then, but then also realizing, well, you know what, here's what our ideal client avatar looks like. Here's the people who truly, built this business on, who we wanted to help, right? Identifying these small business owners who really love and care about their employees, want to do something for them, but have struggled to find a good solution to help their people. But then we started going, okay, well, here's just a person by themselves. We want to help them, and then
everybody's got a friend of a friend that needs help.
Everybody's got a friend that needs help, and so we weren't anymore just helping. We weren't helping small business owners. We're helping just everybody in general, and again, it's literally just breaking you into single little strands to where the point where like you have no more strands left, but you're still saying yes, right? And so now you're over promising and under delivering, and that's really the painful part, because that's the worst thing you want to do for any client, and whether you can or can't take care of them, is to over promise and under deliver. And so that's been the part that really will eat away at you and gives you like a lot of sense of like, I guess, owner's guilt, like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing my job, I'm letting people down, and then that just eats you up as like, I'm a terrible business owner.
And then your wife is turning around and asking questions when things aren't done. It's really hard not to manage your spouse, like when you work with them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's again, if we would have been more, saying it's okay to say no and say, sorry, we're not the best fit to take care of that for you, but I know someone who can help, and just being easily able to pass that on. And knowing, and therefore keeping your bandwidth within its width and staying in your lane would definitely make life a lot easier, because then you're just focusing on the things that really are, the what you've identified as, the key things of where you want your business to go and who you want to work with and grow your business with. So.
Staying on target.
Yeah, in the cycle of saying yes to everybody, I get it. Be all things to all the people, and then you quickly learn that that's not the right thing. Right? Heck, even to this day, Jason still has talks with me and Brian like, "Hey, get over in your lane."
We're why are you handling this? You should be doing other stuff.
But he's like, "Stop it."
Oh yeah,
that's a no.
Yeah,
exactly. Jason's really good at that. If you ever need someone to smack your hand, he's the
person
guy.
For it. Good to know.
He is. But in all of this, sometimes it takes a while to realize you're in that hamster wheel of self-deprivation. Yes, right?
Yep.
What was your breaking moment in realizing, okay, enough is enough?
I feel like I literally was going to have a mental breakdown 2 years ago. Like, it was end of the year. It was open enrollment. I had I don't even know, 40 something clients that I had to call and review their healthcare with. And then I had a bunch of business owners that we needed to review their benefits. And then I had new people calling to get added in because their friend of a friend told them to call me, or whatever it was. And I looked at Leo, I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I'm going to get through this. Like I had a lot of tears and a lot of frustration and stuff. I mean, I had a lot of late nights, but I have never been like that emotionally to my breaking point. And I was like, I'm done. So I was like, if you want to keep this, up in the new year, you can keep doing this, but I'm putting a stop to this now. Like we've got one, and it's not just like the workload. It's the fact that we got really far into our business without setting standards. Not just on how we were going to obviously serve clients, because we both do that, I think, pretty well for the most part, but it's the standards of the business, right? Like I tell Leo all the time, we were the Wild West of insurance for a long time because we came from the 1099 world. So it was like he did his thing and I did my thing. We never collectively sat down and we're like, all right, we are a business now. How are we going to do stuff? Yeah. Right. And so there's a lot of standard operating procedures and things like that we did not establish. And we're backtracking and putting a lot of those things in place now. And it's taking years for us to get here. I mean, business for us has really ramped up in the past 3 years. And with the demand, obviously, means I have to work on my business, not in my business. Yeah. And so we're having to, we've hired a consultant that's helping us go through automations and workflows and all that stuff. So we don't have to do all the things anymore. And helping us document, because I have time to document my processes, I'm too busy doing all the things and being in all the places and trying to meet all the people, and so anyway, we have somebody that's documenting all that stuff for us, and we have somebody that's developing a custom platform for us. And so we've learned a lot of things the hard way, on one, saying yes for a long time to things we shouldn't have, which grew the business to a really good point. But now we're having to pay the price for that, because we're having to backtrack now and do all those things. And so that's been a huge lesson learned for us, in dealing with all that. Growing the business is always hard, but it's making sure you structure it from the beginning. Yeah. Right. And so anyway, now, we're trying to
small. Yeah. When you can okay, we just make this one change and it's it's not going to create ripple effects. Yeah. But now it's you create one change and it's
but part of that's also
bigger pond.
Yeah. It's also empowering other people though. I can't hire someone on my staff and empower them to do what I do if it is not organized and well documented.
Yeah. The last thing you want to try and do is train in chaos.
Oh yes.
it'd be a nightmare.
I'm like, hi, welcome to the shit show.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah. So anyway, we got a lot of cleanup that we're doing now. And anyway, so we've learned a lot of stuff the hard way when it comes to that. Again, you can do all the things, but like my strong point is not necessarily administrative. Do I do administrative? Yes. Should I give that to somebody else? Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't think you guys are alone. I think most small businesses operate.
Oh,
in
I
that
think it's
space when
everyone.
they first start, because it's just, you're in the middle of building up a business and you're doing 40,000 things with 40,000 different hats. And the last thing you want to think of is slow down and actually document and develop SOPs and processes and procedures.
Like, I don't know.
Templates
Ain't nobody got time for that.
and,
Right.
all of that. First, it's not sexy. Like,
No.
I don't. Okay. I do know one person, and thank God she's on my team.
Right. That loves that stuff.
Yeah. Only one person in my life.
Yeah.
That I know who likes to do this stuff. But it's rare that people find that interest in doing it. And then I think a lot of people find themselves in your position where it's like, okay, now it's time to position ourselves to scale, to grow. And you look around and you're like, how the hell am I going to grow with this?
Yeah. Like we've been at that stepping point for a long time and we just haven't been able to do it because we haven't got the structure in place.
Yeah.
You know?
When your CRM system is a legal pad and a pen, it's like, let's bring someone into
And
this.
it
into
was
this
for a
chaos.
long
Let me
time.
find that notebook from 2023.
Seriously, I would have somebody call me and I'm like, oh, that's the turquoise colored notebook from Q4. Let me flip to the notes section in the back and find where I wrote down their stuff about what their problems were or whatever. I mean, you learn some stuff, and we've implemented a CRM and stuff like that, a while back, but we don't manage it very well. I mean, there's still a lot of stuff that's here.
Oh, yeah.
And so we are learning that, right? Like, how do we structure as a true organization? How do we put things in place that are going to make other people successful when we onboard? And how do we learn how to automate? So we're doing a lot less. We've always said yes to everything. Like, sure, I'll help you file your claim. Like, you need me, you call me. Here's my cell phone number. Text me anytime. And we've got to start putting people in power, not just like, obviously, when we onboard people and we have employees to serve our existing clients, but our actual clients. Like, here's how you find this information.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
It's like lead a horse to water type thing, right? So anyway, we're learning more to say no to stuff and implement a lot of things that we should have done a long time ago. And it's definitely making things better because, like I said, I thought I was going to have a straight meltdown and I was like, I can't do this anymore. We better figure this out or I'm just going to go get a job because I can't. Like, good luck. You have fun with insurance, dude. I'm out of here.
I understand.
And anyway, I got through Q4 and at January, I started saying no to a lot of stuff. And I was like, that's it. We're like, okay, we're going to go through. We're going to hire a consultant. We're going to do the things. We're going to start setting this stuff up because like two things are going to happen. I'm going to have a heart attack or a stroke or something from my blood pressure being so high, or we're going to wind up divorced, like we got to fix this. So,
and also, one thing too, a lesson learned too, as well, is that, as a small business owner, like, at some point, you have to be able to say, like, well, gee, I don't have to be here every single day. And you really want to get to that point.
Yeah.
Because, it's if you're constantly the small business owner that everything lies, you can't step away from the office because you are responsible for everything. What happens when you have that life event and all of a sudden you can't do your job for a month or multiple months? How does that impact your business? And so it's like being able to make sure you have all the systems in place and all the, almost like the backups. Yeah. So that way it's like if something happens tomorrow, it's like, hey, I'm going to be out for some weeks. You've got a team that can step in and be able to make sure your business continues to run on itself at its same optimacy and efficiency and, and providing the same level of care and service without you having to physically be there.
I'm like, we have to fix today and we have to figure out how the future is going to be better because whatever this problem is, it's only going to continue to grow as clientele grows.
Yeah. And
like the bigger we get.
Bump is always, if it lives here up in your head.
Oh yeah.
And no one else can access it.
Huge problem.
There's nothing no one can do about it. Yeah, absolutely.
So we've fixed things. Like we have an IT guy I can call now if I have problems. He's helped us fix a lot of our like servers and stuff. Yeah. We've got a business consultant that's helping us document stuff. We've got a guy that's building us like a custom platform. Like we're growing up and it's so exciting. It only just, it just took us like almost 8 years to figure it out,
Seems like you're right on time.
I felt really good when we got past the 5-year mark, and I was like, all right, cool, we must be doing something right, because people that we've known a long time are calling to say like, hey, like I'd like to talk to you about your expertise now. You must know what you're doing. And we made it. Like 5 years came, and then it's like, well, now we're at 8, and then we just got Best of the Springs, and that was huge. Like I had to do a double take. I was like, is that really our name on the top? Oh my gosh, it is.
That's amazing.
And for somebody that literally moved here on a whim with like a 6-week period, anyway, that's a fun story too.
Sounds like
we like to do everything.
Over that one.
Yeah, we like to do everything and wing it. So
yeah. So as Brandy was going through this mental breakdown or potential mental breakdown, how were you supporting her and carrying her? And what were you doing? Because I mean, there was a lot going on with you too, if I recall correctly.
Well, yeah, this was
the
2 years ago.
same year. That was.
Yeah.
I think it was.
No, I mean, for me, yeah, I mean, with
If my math is right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
roughly. No, I mean, no, and I guess that's also though like where it's even though we're partners in the same business and work together and spouses, it's like she handles pressure one way, I handle pressure differently.
Yeah.
She's the one that like it builds up.
I'm very vocal.
Very vocal and whatever. I'm the
I like to
person
throw
that
a
just tries to
tantrum.
keep it all just nice and subdued and kind of like.
He internalizes a lot, and I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So but at the same time though, like with my diagnosis and things like that, that was a big lesson, because then it's like it really kind of woke me up to like, okay, I have to appreciate my time a lot better, because I can't just constantly be working and feeling like that I'm not doing enough and I should be doing more, and then at the same time sacrificing my health, and not, it's like, and then not even realizing like, okay, well, hey, you're faced with now your own mortality. Maybe what kind of things you want to do with, make sure that you get done while you still can. And so I ended up almost like feeling like I started taking steps, like not saying no, but just started just even like separating myself so much of like the business being so much as like everything in my life. Because I had to start realizing that your time is not guaranteed. And it's not forever. So it's like you got to sit down, like it's like the Ferris Bueller line, right? Because sometimes you just got to slow down and smell the roses, right? And so it's like as much as you want to build and you're trying to grow this business, you have to take care of yourself, and however that looks like, and whatever like your life is, where you are in your life, is that you still need to take care of yourself and make sure that you are not putting yourself in more harm because of you're trying to achieve this thing in your business, that you're literally sending yourself backwards, even though you're trying to push yourself ahead.
Yeah.
So
like he wouldn't be stressed at all. And I'd look at him and I'm like, how are you so calm right now? Like I was mad that he wasn't like more frazzled, and I'm like, how are you he's like, it's just the putting problems in perspective thing. He was like, I got diagnosed with cancer, and who cares that this person doesn't have their payroll on time? Like, I'll get to it.
What's more important, Brandy?
Yeah. And I'm like freaking out because I'm like, I'm going to let somebody down. I didn't meet the time frame. I didn't respond in time or whatever, and I got mad that he wasn't more mad. Leo, honestly, he's learned like he doesn't do a lot of support me. Like he's not like, oh honey, how are you doing? Touchy feely. He's like, let's just let her get it out of her system.
That's brilliant too.
He knows more that I mean, like because if he tries to console me, then I get mad because I'm like, I don't need you to fix my problems, bro.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Anyway,
Bam, right
so I'm like, I'm fine, right? Because I still got my stuff to work through. But anyway,
just nod.
So he's just like, he's a very much like, yes, okay, yes. Should you go get some wine, or something,
Yeah.
Did you have dinner?
Yeah. So
Ooh, those are dangerous words in my house.
Yeah.
Have you eaten, honey?
Yeah. It's like, so now I'm mad, huh?
Yeah. Now watch out.
No, let me cook dinner for you. Take care of that, and then we can have that conversation.
Yeah. So he knows how to manage it though, but he pretty much just kind of stands back and lets me do my thing, and he's like, all right, she'll be better, and give her 10 minutes or whatever, And a lot of times he'll just leave the room. He's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Time to put on the headphones.
Noise canceling headphones, and I'm going to walk away now.
What an interesting time for you guys, because you're sitting there screaming, Uncle.
Yeah.
You're taking this silent step back in perspective and saying what's important. But it sounds like at the end of the day, you guys arrived at pretty much the same place.
Yeah. I mean,
In your own way.
we complement each other really well, so that's the nice part about us is our dynamics are a really good fit for each other. So, even if he's taking a step back and I'm all worked up or whatever it is, like we're all working towards the same end and we know that, which is really good. But anyway, yeah.
Well, I mean, also too, like, and without even having to identify, like, there's certain things she doesn't have to ever deal with. Like, she does not have to deal with a lot of, like, I take care of a lot of financials. I take care of a lot of, like, administrative stuff as far as, like, legalities of actually having a small business and making sure our licensing's up to date and making sure all those things are in place. She focuses just a lot more. She can just solely focus on clients and service and things like that. And, she helps a lot with the marketing side. Like, she's more in tune with like social media and websites and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But she never has to worry about like, hey, did that invoice got paid or this thing? It's like I handle pretty much all the interactions with vendors and making sure things get paid. So she doesn't like numbers, right? So
I got to stay in my lane.
So she stays in
we
her
all
lane.
do,
I take
right?
her thing. So instead of where it's like one owner having to be concerned about the business financials and then also trying to be focusing on sales and revenue and all these other things, we've kind of have been able to like split responsibilities to where we don't even need to cross over those responsibilities. Hey, it's a website question. Brandy can answer website questions. Hey, if it's a financial thing, I take care of
nice.
it.
Yeah. I mean, again, we've worked. I think that what's different for us is we met through work. And we've worked together at several places. Like this is like the 8th job we've had together or something like that. Like we've always been a package
We're
deal.
still not divorced.
Yeah. And so it's like we've been together for 25 years. We've worked together several times in the work setting. And before when he was actually my boss at some places, right? And so we've learned how to navigate it really well, right? It's not like I'm walking away after all the stuff we've been through. Like I know that I'll be spoon feeding and changing your diapers one day, right? And so whatever we have going on today that's the problem, we're going to get past it.
Yeah.
So even if I'm having a meltdown or you're being a complete recluse or whatever it is, like again, it's always the balance because he's going to have times he's real worked up about stuff and I'm not. I've had to talk him off a ledge a few times, and stuff like that. So it is a good balance. But we know like in it, no matter what, we're in it together. And so we're always going to get past whatever the BS of the day is,
100%.
Resiliency.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm way too vested. I don't want to start over.
Oh my gosh. That sounds awful.
I wouldn't even know how to date these days.
No. I'd be like, internet, what?
Yeah. I told Leo when he goes, it's going to be like the Golden Girls at my house. It's going to be all like just my girlfriends hanging out, drinking wine.
I'll come join you, Brandy.
I'm going to go first.
I know, right? There's always a debate.
Statistics.
Right. There's always debate.
So I'm curious, after all of this and these kind of lessons, now how do you guys find this building into kind of moving forward? And like kind of that lessons learned looking back and maybe a little bit of that advice you guys would offer to others.
Oh, I'm so excited about the future because one, I've learned to say no to a lot of stuff without feeling guilty for it. And that's not just client stuff. That's networking and that's community service and all kinds of stuff, right? Like I want to do all the things, but I can't do all the things and I know that. But it's really exciting to see what the future can look like. Like all the things that we're integrating now, which should have been integrated before, are only going to give us more bandwidth to do more and serve more people. And the thing that's really cool is finding a good team member that we can have come on board and say, hey, look, we've already built this existing book of clientele that know, like, and trust us. We want you to help take that over and help manage all that, right? And then help them empower themselves to grow a lucrative career where they don't have to work for somebody else and they have like their own ability to take charge of their future and make it whatever they want it to be, right? It's really exciting to know that that's where we're going. Like we've made enough pivots that we can see kind of this silver lining that's going to be coming at the end, where I'm not going to have to do all the things and be all the things, right? But until we get there, obviously, right? It's still, I don't want to say a dream, but it's a dream with a plan. And that's really cool, So it is really exciting to see what's going to happen. Like business for us hasn't slowed down as far as clientele. It's how do we manage it and bring more value to people and better serve them.
I think that's the ultimate question for most businesses.
Absolutely.
What about you, Leo? What's a big lesson learned piece that you feel like, or just even some advice that you would offer to other people that are in this position?
Come up with the business plan and follow it to the letter. No.
Really?
Discussion about, no,
Really?
I'm kidding. No, your business. No, I mean it's being able to recognize like when you need to pivot and recognize things that aren't serving you, and or how should things be serving you, and making adjustments. I'd say like also too is just no matter how small you are, just if you have the ambition of you're going to grow up big, start putting the foundation, like putting those specific things in place when they're still just small and easy to do, like those systems and those procedures, and really coming up with that structure. So that way you can build that skyscraper because you've got a strong foundation that you built when you were still just a one-story kind of house. And just because, it's a lot harder to backtrack and trying to reorganize the entire structure when if you just would have built it from the beginning, it'd just be so easy just to build on top of it as the business expands. So you wouldn't have to be doing all the stuff.
What
Doing
are
other
those
things.
critical components to the structure?
Oh,
From, like,
yeah.
hindsight, like someone sitting here who's maybe a noob at building their business, and they're like, okay, I'm going to do that, but I don't know what to do.
Well,
what are those parts and pieces?
I think a lot of it is learning where to buy back your time, right? Like, don't do your social media. Find somebody else that knows how to tell your story better and hire them. Yeah. So you have the ability to go out and do the revenue producing activities. It's hiring maybe an administrative assistant that answers calls and does scheduling for those things. So you have the ability to go meet with clients. There's all kinds of little things that you can implement along the way that really what it's doing is giving you the ability to focus on where you need to focus to actually be successful and grow and move things forward. And most of us don't recognize that in the beginning. And they're like, I'm going to do all the things because I'm too cheap to pay for it. And then you're like, wow, I have no time and I'm working 15 hours a day when I could have outsourced a lot of this stuff that I shouldn't have been doing because I need to be out meeting with clients. And so anyway, I think that's a big part of it is just knowing when you grow in the beginning, like every business I think starts from somebody that was like, hey, I got a better way I can do it. Right. That's been that W-2 that was, tired of the same thing and, saw the light. I can do this for myself. Why am I working for somebody else? But nobody teaches you how to actually like run a business, like I can be the HVAC guy or the electrician or whatever, and I can do the job, but nobody teaches you how to structure things, and most of us that start a business, I don't think most of us even went to school for business, right? Like you just fall into it along the way.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of it is learning, like just stay in your lane and do the things that need to be done that you know how to do well. And then find the things that are not on the list that you don't do well. And let's give that to somebody else. Yeah. It is 100% worth the time to spend the money so you can focus on education, structure, prospecting, whatever it is. There's so many other things you should be doing.
Yeah.
But again, we're too busy working in our business instead of on our business.
It's true. It's true. What I find interesting, which has been helpful, at least around here, is, you build a piece of your structure and it takes a little bit of elbow grease and, some hammer swings and stuff. But then once it's built and you implement it, it just becomes second nature. And then at that point, you can move on to the next
I should have done this before.
Yeah. And then the next thing. And then just little by little. And all of that makes such a big difference.
It's all small steps in the right direction, right? Doing the things that are really going to truly move you forward.
Exactly.
It's like you can't just be busy all day and be like, oh, I didn't move the needle.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's many of us, right?
Yeah.
So the best thing you can do is learn how to take the things that you're doing and put them in somebody else's hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And when you build a new process, you document it and then you hold yourself accountable and the rest of your team to actually following it. Because what's not more annoying than implementing a new process that nobody follows? Yeah. Right. But yeah, it's exciting time.
It is very exciting. It makes me, I love what I do. But it makes me really passionate about like being in the industry and seeing where we're going and what impact we're truly going to get to make. Yeah. Because we'll have more people on our side and we'll do things better.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a question I've never asked if anybody's sitting at this table or on the couch before. Leo was really sad that he couldn't sit on the couch, so we're going to have to get you back and put you on the couch. Yep. I promise. Looking in your magic crystal ball down the road, what's your next big mistake?
I don't want to say hiring too fast. I think it's going to be firing too slow.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what it's going to be.
Okay.
Because I told Leo, I said, the minute we put a job posting out there saying that we're hiring for somebody, we're going to have a lot of people come to the table, and they're going to be people that we know that are in the industry that are looking for something different.
Don't hire.
And
Don't
yes,
hire people you know. Don't. It's harder
and
to fire
I think
'em.
the biggest thing for us is, and that's why that's one of the things that we're working on right now, and why we're building out like workflows and automations, because we want to hire for what we truly want to hire for. But my concern is, like, I'm a good natured person, and I may hire somebody that I have a relationship with, which I try not to do because that never ends well. But I feel like it's going to be one of those things, like I'm going to be too lenient, right? Or too emotionally vested in the person or something like that, to where something's going to happen and I'm not going to, like, again, set the tone for the toxic culture and get rid of it faster than I should have.
Yeah. Well, good thing you know someone.
Yeah. Because employees are crazy. Like, I don't even want to know what that's going to... Like, I get really excited about hiring people, but then I go, ooh, yeah, but people. Like, they're really hard to manage. And so, and communication is key, and I don't always communicate well, you know? I mean...
Gosh, when you hire the right person.
Yes. Finding the right fit.
Best.
Yeah, finding the right fit is
On the
great.
same wavelength as you, to where you don't need to tell them to do something; they just already have it done.
Yeah.
It takes about a year to get there.
Yeah.
And once they're there, it's just like,
Yeah. Because we would have already hired if we wanted to hire. But I think, and so again, we've held off for a long time. But I think the biggest, I mean, I don't know if you agree with that, but I feel like it's going to be, we're going to be too slow to fire someone.
Or the other, I think, potential like future big mistake is knowing what, like, the exit strategy, like knowing. When do we walk away?
yeah. And how do you walk away?
How do you walk away? And what's that look like?
That's
I think
hard.
That's I think really a big one, because like it's, you know, you're in the moment right now, right? So you just want to, like, and you got all these things working, you know, like, oh, we've got all this stuff that's like, once this comes out and we get these things done and put these things in place, it's going to be so amazing. Well, you don't want to walk out when you have something amazing.
And I definitely don't
coming.
want to do it
then,
forever.
Okay, then that comes, right? And then what's the next big thing? So you get caught in the cycle of where you don't ever want to leave because the next big thing is coming and you want to be there to see it. Well, it's like, well, at what point do you say, like, you know what, it's time for me to say either to step aside and either just become like someone who's like, just as, you know, like you're an owner who but doesn't have to be there every day or even every week? Or do you completely turn over the reins to someone else and you completely separate from the the thing that you built? And that's and that becomes the scary part. Like, okay, do I ever retire? Or do I want to just keep working until, because I love what I do? Or do you want to, you do want to retire, so you sell the thing that you built and you spent so much time and passion and tears and blood and sweat in pouring all into that, and then give it to somebody else to then go just kind of like, okay, I'm going to go on the beach now. I mean, like, it's like, like, what does that look like? And so that not having an exit strategy is probably the next big mistake of going, okay, when do we say when?
Because we don't want to do this forever. The goal is to have somebody at some point in time that's going to... Well, yeah, because it's like, it's your baby, right? Yeah. But at some point in time, the goal is to have people underneath us that will be sales agents that help, manage the existing book, bring in new clientele and that kind of stuff, and we can truly step away. We've talked about doing like an ESOP and stuff like that, but then somebody's like, why would you want to do that and take everything that you've worked hard for and then just give it to the people underneath you? Like, that just may not care. And so we've had a lot of conversations about that. More than likely, we'll probably sell it off and stay part ownership, maybe collect some residual income or something like that. But I mean, you either work a business to scale it or to sell it.
Yeah.
Right. And we don't have kids to leave it to. And so we've got to figure that out as far as when do we step out, Yeah. But yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to work all my life. I'm already tired of working. No, it's good.
Retire.
Or do you just go public and then it becomes,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The stock exchange takes over. Yeah.
You guys, this has been so much fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for letting me poke a little bit deeper and ask you some weird and random questions and have a little fun with this conversation.
Yeah. We could go down a rabbit hole of a lot of stuff.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Indeed.
Yeah.
We could probably have, just like Jason predicted, a few more hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should land the plane there. Tell us a little bit about how people can learn about you guys, website, all that good stuff.
Yeah, actually, we're in the process of revamping our website, so that's going to be fun and new. But domain is nunespartners.com, NUNES partners.com. If you are a phone person and you really want to call, 719-223-9566, but website's probably best.
Great.
Yeah.
And you've got some amazing social media.
Yeah. We've been doing a lot more a lot more to share our story of who we are and what we do, you know, because we're like, oh, we're healthcare stuff and we do what we do is fun and exciting, but it doesn't really tell the story. And so, it actually is. And when you work in the space that we do, but yeah, the social media has been great.
So I want to ask just one quick follow-up as we land this plane, though, is we kind of addressed this earlier. Who's the right person to call you? Like, what's that ideal client? Like, who do you want actually giving you a call?
Yeah, I mean, we specialize in working with small to mid-sized businesses that are locally owned, people that have looked to offer benefits in the past and they just found it was unaffordable, or people that are like, I'm not going to find one solution that fits my team. You know, the people that have dealt with a major medical event that paid for a lot of stuff out of pocket, they're ideal clients for us because they're really excited when we can show them there's a different way. So we look for the people that are kind of disgruntled with the system.
Yeah.
Or just looking for an alternative. Like, how can I bring true value to my team for something that they'll actually use? And those are the people that, you know, we want. We don't want the people that are, you know, I mean, we will take them, but the over 50 employers, right, that are providing benefits because they have to.
Yeah.
We want the local guy that is providing benefits because they want to.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Love it. Okay. We can land the plane there.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for joining us on this episode of Show Me Yours with Brandy and Leo Nunes from myself and Jason. Thank you very much. And we look forward to talking with you about your biggest mistake in business.